the face of men's college basketball right now, not only because he is electrifying, but because his team is so damn dominant. The reigning, defending, undisputed national champions who look to be poised to go back-to-back. The head coach of the UConn Huskies, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Dan Hurley. Yeah, Coach! All right, Coach.
Let's go.
What's up, man? That's some intro right there. The reigning, you know what? That's what we said before the season, man. It was like, last year we were clearly the kings of college basketball, and what do kings do? They reign, and our goal was to do it again. So like reign and repeat. That was our mindset since the summer.
Okay, reign and repeat isn't necessarily easy because once you're sleeping on satin sheets, it's not as easy to wake up and get to work in the morning. How have you kept the boys motivated all year, and how have you kept the team so dominant, you think?
Yeah, I think there's kind of like two things that have got to be aligned, right? Like what you want and how you work, and our work level and like our work rate and how we prepare and the time commitment, it exceeds what we want. And we, we're feel like we're the hardest working, program in the country. And then you combine that with like great people that have elite talent, and you could accomplish great things. We've battled and fought that human nature, stuff the whole year, and we've rooted out any complacency along the way with just the highest work rate possible.
I love that. Work ethic, I think, is the most important thing whenever you want to have success in any aspect of life. It's almost being forgotten by an entire generation, but reality will smack them in the mouth, I think, and let them know that you have to work for anything that you really want. I want to go back to 2020, and I'm sure you've seen this clip. It's been recirculating, especially with the dominant. For those that haven't seen it, here is Coach Hurley after a loss, I believe, in 2020.
People better get us now. That's all. You better get us now, because it's coming.
You knew? You knew that this. So why was it? Because you knew you were going to recruit the right type of guys. You knew the way you ran practices was good. Obviously, your dad a phenomenal coach. You're a phenomenal coach. How did you know in 2020 that it was coming? And is this what it was in that moment that you knew was coming?
Yeah, it's crazy to see the Fiji water there too. I'm like 3 waters removed from the Fiji.
What are you, smart water now? You doing smart water?
Yeah, just that I've convinced myself that I'm gonna coach. There's a lot going on in this melon, man. Yeah, you know what? Number one, you're a coach at UConn, and the history and the tradition. It's rich here, and the fans are obviously. The expectation is you're gonna be amongst the best, and we weren't very good, but we were starting to turn the corner. The culture was coming together. The talent was improving. We're starting to get pros in the program, and it's like you got to say something to you got to say something to your fan base at that point, because we weren't there yet. And I think when you're the coach of a big brand program, you got to have some swagger. You got to have some confidence. Because people are going to be on your ass anyway.
So let's talk about that big brain and having swagger and confidence. A lot has been made about, you dumping your underwear. Let's wash those again. Let's play another game.
Yep.
On the sideline, you're awesome. The way you're handling this, awesome.
Incredible.
Like, you've always been this human? You've always been comfortable enough? I think it's all comfort in who you are. I assume this is how you've been forever?
Yeah, I think so. I think, just growing up in Jersey City, being a Jersey guy, I'd say too, my path as a coach, just, coaching high school, majority of my career has been spent as a high school coach, and then like low Division I and mid-major. So, I don't have, obviously I have an ego in terms of, how good of a coach I believe I am. But I'm also just a regular guy because for the most part, I've just had regular jobs as a coach. And, so I just kind of, I try to be my authentic self and not do the coach speak. The coach speak, I think, makes it boring. And I think, men's college basketball needs some characters right now and needs some a reason to watch the game beyond just the basketball. You got to get to know the people.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the hell out of watching you and your wife's job, of making sure those are they tighty whities?
The Dragons.
They're what?
The Dragons, man.
What is
the
that?
Dragons.
What are Dragons?
The Dragons, those are the underwear. I had to make a tough decision, Pat, this tournament, because I wore the Dragons last year. They went 6-0, along with the same suit, same dress socks that are all ripped up and beat up, same dress shirt, same Jerusalem beads. I got the whole same outfit. But the Dragons were challenged this year by the Wolves. The Wolves crushed the Big East. I mean, they destroyed. They went like 19-1 with the regular season chip, and then we ran through MSG with the Wolves. So it's like Wolves or Dragons going into the big dance. I had to go back to the Dragons. Loyalty.
How are the Dragons holding up? Pretty good. Are we delicate? We got to wash those delicate, I assume, because you got to be sweating. You're moving. Mm-hmm. You're moving. Those got to be withered down. The Dragons got to be beat up a little bit at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's swampy. It's the swampy situation, especially my coach style doesn't lend itself to staying fresh there. So obviously it speaks to how much my wife loves me, and then I bring value too. She's a smart woman. She needs me at her best, so she's taking care of that.
Yeah, that's smart. It's a real team effort over there. Hey, shout out, Miss.
Yeah, good work.
They put a lot of screen time on her whenever you guys were in the middle of that 30-0 run in the second half. UConn alum D-But's got a question for you.
Yeah, and to go on a 30-0 run. First of all, appreciate you. Everything you're doing for the program.
UConn.
Yeah, Huskies. Yeah, man, you making us proud, man. But you're coaching. I know your dad was a great coach for a long time, but who's had that biggest impact on you when it comes to coaching? I know Jim Calhoun is still around the program. Saw him in some videos last year during tournament time. I know Gino and the women's side, great coach as well. Who's had that biggest impact when you was a coach, and where does this defensive intensity come from? Because that's what I take most from watching you guys play ball is the defense. Offense, you're going to score points, but that defensive intensity, where does that come from?
Yeah, I would say, a majority is from my dad. He's one of the greatest coaches of his generation. He's a community guy, and he loved being a high school coach. He was so connected with St. Anthony and Jersey City. That he spent, his life not chasing the coaching ladder. So my dad, without question, and then I was fortunate enough to play in college for, PJ Carlissimo, who was one of the best to do it, in Big East history, and a 3-time NBA head coach, and George Blaney, at Seton Hall as well, had a big impact on me. And then I keep a good network of people. Seth Greenberg's had a big impact on me. Continually looking for mentorship and advice, so I could continue to get better as a coach. Coach Izzo, Billy Donovan, Jay Wright, Coach K. Obviously the goats here, Coach Calhoun and Gino. I'm just smart enough to know that I'm 51. I look old as shit, but I'm still young.
No, you look young. I would have never guessed 51. I've
looked like this for 10 years, though. It's weird, because I was like an old 38, 40-year-old, but now I'm like a young 51-year-old.
Okay, that's good news for me, because people have been calling me 50 for a while, too, so it looks like I got brighter days ahead. Maybe we need to use a little bit more lotion. Talk about coaching. What happens at halftime? Because I think 2 games ago it was like 4 points. They got it 2. I think last game maybe it was close, 2. It got real, and then we talked about that 30-0 run. I don't think I've ever seen that in any sport ever. Normally a team could quit, run the clock. Ref would maybe even. We talked about this. Give them a foul so they can get on the foul line so we can break this streak. I don't think I've ever seen 30-0 in any pickup. They would end that game.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's in the Elite Eight. I mean, that is in the second half of the Elite Eight. What happens at halftime? Do you guys have – because I don't know basketball inside and out. I'm not like, I'm more of a football doofus. Is there like a complete shift of game plan that the other team doesn't know is coming? Is there a tightening up? What is it about the second half? And what do you say at halftime? Is it the Dragons come out and start dancing? What do we have? What do we have at halftime?
They start breathing fire, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where, we're number 1 team in the country in offensive efficiency. We're 4 in defense. Like we really rebound the ball at a high level. We're not relying on one player offensively because we're a high assist team. We're a good 3-point shooting team, even though we haven't shot it well in the tournament. So we could beat you at the rim offensively and get to the free throw line. I just think There's a belief and a confidence that the program and the organization now has that having won it last year, you carry the confidence of a champion and believe that because our quality is high, that just over the course of a lot of possessions in the game, that there's going to be an opportunity for us, to potentially break somebody down systematically over the course of a game, because we're not vulnerable in any one area, or are we weak as a team.
So with how great you've done, obviously this has happened in the past in basketball, there's already been the chatter about, I think Reese Davis asked Kendrick Perkins last week on our show, would this guy work at the NBA? Would this be able to be an NBA coach? Feels like you have a machine started at UConn right now. Know the type of guys you want to recruit. Older classes can teach younger classes, hey, this is what we need to do. The NBA chatter, is there a reason that's been happening? Have you alluded to wanting to be an NBA coach, or does this just kind of come with the job?
Yeah, I think it just kind of comes with the job. And then a lot of times I'll just say what's on my mind. And if somebody asks me, maybe on a Thursday, I might say, yes, that's my dream. And then somebody asks me on a Monday and I'll say, I can't imagine myself not being a college coach. I just think for me right now, the age that I get to work with these guys in, it's obviously the achievement and all those things are incredible. But to have, to be a part of someone's development in that age range of like 18 to 22, 18 to 23, and that impact that you have on what the next 50, 60 years of their lives are going to look like, that's what coaching is all about. And, for me, I love, honestly, to be in control. I love to be in charge. I think, I love to set the energy and the intensity for how we're going to work. And I think that's probably better suited to college organizations.
It's a lot of accountability there too, If one person's making decisions, at least we know who to point the fingers at. In a lot of other places, there's a lot of this shit going on. It's not. I don't know if you've realized the real world. Sounds like you've been in coaching for the real world. There's no accountability ever about anything. It is.
Oh, I know. I see. Social. I see. Just the mentality and the lack of accountability or responsibility. It's crazy how the world has changed, and we're old school, and that's what I love about this place, the UConn, and my staff and the players we get is like, we are old school in terms of our intensity, in terms of these players. They accept the coaching. They don't change us. They allow us to help fix them. But our style of play is modern. It's like modern, efficient basketball with old school values, and just the way the world is changed.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, the world is lucky to have you inside of it, but heavy is the head that wears the crown. If you're the one in charge, everybody knows whose fault it is. But also, hey, why are we winning?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that question going on too, Coach. Connor's got a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, I was reading up on you. It said when you were at Seton Hall, you met a psychologist, Sister Catherine Waters. How has she kind of helped you throughout, your career, both at Seton Hall and then, when you went into coaching? And is that something you also, urge your players to do? Speak with a psychologist or a sports psychologist, especially, being the team that's the top dogs. You guys do probably get a lot of hate mail and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, Sister Catherine, you're going to get to me on that one, man. Well, first of all, she introduced me to books. I didn't know about books. I didn't know that you could just read books, elect to read them on your own. So, I didn't know about that.
You got to be assigned the book, right? You got to be, I understand.
Yeah. I thought it was just for school. Actually, there were bookmobiles back in the day that used to drive around Jersey City, and I never went on it. But I mean, your men especially, man, it's like we deal with a lot of stuff. Just emotionally, mentally, and there's a macho attitude where we can't show that vulnerability and open up and talk about our fears or the things that are bothering us, or relationship issues or what have you. And for me at that time at Seton Hall, your dad's a Hall of Fame coach. You're older. your older brother is the face of college basketball at Duke and eventually going to be a lottery pick, number 7, and 2-time national champ. And you're just kind of like mid in the Big East a little bit and struggling. So, I sought her out as a counselor at Seton Hall, and we developed a bond and a relationship over my time that has lasted to today, where we still see each other, communicate. But I was doing intense therapy with her. She introduced me to a book that had a big impact, The Winner Within, by Pat Riley, and got me to talk about a lot of stuff that was bothering me. And she helped me get a little bit of stability in my life, my spirituality, my faith in God, relationships and friendships, had to be quality, obviously my physical condition, and in my emotional health. So, she kind of helped me balance out the table so that I could start progressing to get towards my best self.
Thank you, Sister Waters.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Hell yeah. We're very thankful for it because the person we see today is probably, I don't want to say a majority because of that type of situation, but when you find yourself, it's easier to be yourself, I think, and you probably kept a lot of stuff pent up. I would assume that's the type of guy you were?
Yeah, I was in a deep depression, man. I was locked in my dorm room. I played a game at St. John's. We played a doubleheader at MSG. My brother played the Knicks that same day, and we played St. John's. I think I went 1 for 12 from the field. I got off to a horrific start to my season. I went and I quit I went and met my brother that night, late night. I'm not going to tell you where in the city, but, we might have had a couple of beers and talked about, and I kind of asked him permission to step away from basketball at that point, because it was just eating me up to struggle so much, and I was in such a bad place. So I basically locked myself in my dorm room for a couple of days and refused to leave. There weren't cell phones back then, so people were just knocking, slamming on my door, trying to find me, and I just holed up. And the first person I really talked to coming to that room was Sister Catherine.
Hey, we're thankful for that, dude.
Yeah.
So thankful for that moment. Also, good inspiration for others that are maybe going through the same thing. Don't be scared to open up and chit-chat a little bit. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, prior to the Illinois game, I think it was a former Illinois player and analyst now basically said, like, hey, UConn's got no answer for Terrence Shannon Jr. They're going to, they're
You heard that? You heard that?
Well, yeah, and then you basically said in the post-game presser after you guys beat the shit out of them, like, hey, listen, that's asinine. We're not playing in some Mickey Mouse league here, okay? We're going against monsters every night in the Big East. But we always talk, or hear people say about how, hey, you got to be battle tested going into the tournament. But obviously the Big East got screwed over on Selection Sunday a little bit. A lot of you guys have alluded to that. But how important is it, especially you guys being defending national champs, like getting good teams' best shot every single night in league play when they know how you guys want to play, they know how you're successful. But how important truly is that when you go into the tournament when you've had such a tough league schedule and a tough league like the Big East?
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Sean. He was a heck of a player, and he's a smart basketball guy. And I, it's you have to always find some external. And you're right. I mean, the Big East, man, it's like the venues, the fan bases. It's a basketball league, and I think it's incredible roster of coaches, maybe the best roster of coaches in all of college basketball, and it's physical, and the weather's cold, and it's snowy and icy and slush, and it's just the games are tough. And then you go play the Big East tournament at MSG, and it's like electric. And playing an event like that gets you ready for March Madness because there's so much electricity in the building. And I just think you've got to bring up to your team a lot the reality of a lot of the slights, because everyone's kissing our butt right now and talking about us like we're some incredible team. But I don't think we had a player picked on. We didn't have a player picked for first team all conference. We had a guy picked, I think, on second team. No one else even made an all-conference team in the preseason, and we were picked closer to fourth than we were third in the Big East. So I know we're this super team right now, but I remind the boys constantly that not a lot of people thought we were going to be good this year.
Yeah, it wasn't always like this. Let's remember that. Not a single person on the all-conference. There might be a reason for that, though, because of how much you spread the rock. Tone's got a question.
Yeah, Coach, and you talked about the assists earlier and that you don't rely on one player. Five guys you have averaging 10-plus points a game. There's a couple seniors, there's a couple underclassmen, there's a couple guys that transferred in, there's a couple guys that have been at UConn the whole time. In this day and age of college basketball, is it key that you have a good mixture like that of guys that have transferred in and seniors versus underclassmen versus having five stars and stuff like that?
Yeah, it is, and for you at the Steelers too, if you have 2 or 3 quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Good call, Coach. Good call.
Damn. Who's your team? Who's your team?
Bengals. Who they?
Let's go.
All right.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Coach.
Let's go, Coach.
Who they? And back in the day, too, by the way.
Keep my mouth shut.
Ken Anderson, Pete Johnson, Chris Cobb back in the day.
They won
Hollingsworth?
That took a lot to be a fan of them. They suck. Anyways, go ahead, Coach. Go ahead. Sorry about it.
Hey, so, yeah, I mean, I think right now it's like look at us or look at the top programs like Purdue and Houston, the teams that have been the best programs the last couple of years. Like you've got to return players from high level culture that knows how to work and knows how to win and knows how to sacrifice and knows what it takes to be at the top of the mountain. So you've got to bring members back on a yearly basis that really knows what it's all about, know what the program stands for, and then you got to supplement like a couple of high-level freshmen that you feel like you could get on the court, like supplement those like 4- and 5-star guys, with your culture, and then pick your spots in the portal with guys that you have the absolute perfect role for. I think that's the formula, and it's worked great for us.
How do you find a 7'2" guy that's got wiggle?
Yeah,
it feels like that's a good weapon too to have. Clingan is. I don't watch enough college basketball, okay, during the season. I only watch during March Madness. I'm one of those casuals. This dude's got wiggle.
Yeah.
Like he's got actual, like Edey obviously is this mammoth of a man that we've gotten a chance to see here in Indiana at Purdue for, last few years and everything. But what Clingan, he just seems to be abnormally big and then freak show able to move. What a weapon. What a weapon that dude is. Legit.
Yeah, and and he's young, and he's got like a big personality. The guy is like totally, alive. Sometimes with big guys, they're like, big and like a zombie, like they play basketball because they're tall. They don't really understand sports. Like this guy, he understands sports. Like he'd be good at anything. But you're right, his mobility is crazy. His competitiveness and his self-confidence is incredibly high. And, it's just great to see things work out for people. He would have went top 20 in last year's draft. He came back and risked coming back and maybe helping or hurting his draft stock by coming back and playing this year out and trying to become a top 10 pick, a top 5 pick. And it's great to see, when everything, kind of goes along to plan for great people like this kid. And sometimes, luck is involved. I mean, we just, in a way, you just get fortunate that Bristol, Connecticut, produced, Clingan.
I don't know if it's luck. It's a testament to your program as well. Wanting to come back, get better, knowing that there's more to be done is a beautiful thing. It feels like college sports are in the middle of a wild time with the gambling, but college basketball certainly has been brought to the forefront. Cincinnati Bengals legend Adam Pac-Man Jones has a question for you, Coach.
Hey, Coach. You see guys got
yeah.
How you doing? Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Pac-Man.
Going through these college games, you see guys that just check themselves out of the game. The NCAA right now is trying to ban player props to save the integrity of the game. What are your feelings on this? Do you think it should be college player props, or do you think we should can it?
Yeah, they got to can that, and you got to move on that as quickly as possible. Obviously, you got human nature involved in there with individuals, and Obviously, the integrity of the game. Once you lose that, this thing it's a wrap. People are going to lose interest. And then obviously the heat that players take, on social, the stuff that players are dealing with that way is a lot. But sometimes the players checking out is like, it's crazy. Pac-Man is that these guys are basically, you've got players that are going in the portal in December or January. You could see by the look on their face. So the portal is changed a lot of the dynamic with players and their level of interest too.
Football, it's a problem. Football, I don't know what it is like in basketball. Football, it is wild. I feel like we're almost, and I'm not saying this for every program, but like guys need to battle adversity. Like that's a part of development of life, having to battle adversity. And now, I don't want to say you're getting like a handout, but kind of like an option out. Some of these guys are stuck in the portal still. Some of these dudes are still in the portal. They thought they were going somewhere else. They've been there for 2 years. It's like the grass isn't always green on the other side. It's a wild time right now, Coach. I don't even know what it's like for basketball, but I fathom it's similar.
It is, and it's and it's like, what is it like? Give someone fish, you feed them for a day. We got to teach people how to fish, man. It's like if you allow people to just run from place to place to place to place, you never fix yourself. You never develop. You never put any roots down and develop relationships and a network of coaches at a university, that will help create opportunities throughout your life. You don't really, develop, your character, your working character, and learn how to fight for things and sacrifice and adapt. And, I know I'm going to sound like the college coach. College coaches can go wherever they want and take whatever job we want, and leave in a second. Well, actually, it doesn't really work like that. There are buyouts that you have to pay. There is a penalty that coaches pay if they do want to make a move. So it's not just total free agency. There's no sport that is operating like college football and college basketball.
Yeah,
so
but also if you stink, you're getting fired. You're not able to just transfer somewhere. There's a little bit different. There's a little bit of a different ball game there. But we're players. We're on the player side of this thing. And it's like there has to be some sort of, and I think they're trying to figure it out. We don't know what the right answer is, but like for the good of the athletes, we need to make sure that this gets figured out as well in the long term. Speaking of long term, I was told by Mike Greenberg, who's in 2 Hall of Fames.
Believe so.
I think he's in 2 broadcasting Hall of Fames. You guys could beat the Pistons right now. Might even be able to make the playoffs.
Pistons. Detroit.
Yeah, man, that's crazy talk, man, and I appreciate it. But, it's just, it's crazy. What was that?
Well, listen, if you can make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference of the NBA, you better win another national championship.
Listen, maybe, if it was a regular season game, maybe, because these guys, they're not guarding anybody. So we may be able to score. College rules. Do we have to play defensively? Do we got to play NBA rules, or can we play college rules? Is there defensive 3 seconds? But honestly, the NBA, once they get to the playoffs, man, it becomes high level stuff. Sometimes the NBA regular season, obviously you see some of these scores 157 to 152.
No, they're trying. They're trying on defense.
Yeah, always.
Offense just got
every night.
All right, what's the schedule like right now? What do you guys have the rest of the day? Is it? I guess school still exists.
Yeah.
Right. We're still in school right now. School still.
Yeah, it does. It exists, and we'll get on the court, and we'll get a practice in. Obviously, you're going way lighter as you go later in the year. Whereas you may start the year doing an hour and a half of your 2.5 hour practices, like probably live. You get to this point of year, you may be going a half an hour live, just trying to keep the boys sharp, and maybe you're on the court for an hour and 40 minutes, and then we're a little bit superstitious, so
Dragons.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So we'll do the Dragons. We'll go do everything that we've been doing. We'll do a student send off in Gamble as we head to the team bus. We'll go eat at Capitol Grill in Hartford on our way to, and get these guys a nice steak, a big steak for the plane trip to Arizona. And then, once we're there, man, we're going to enjoy every second of it. But, we'll be prepared. We're going to prepare like we've won nothing.
Well, I respect that. I like that we're getting the boys some big meat, too.
Hell yeah.
Some good big meat.
Beef them up. Beef them up.
Get that meat in them.
Hell yeah.
Coach,
Protein.
get that meat in them. All right,
Pause.
well, your team has been awesome to watch. You have been fantastic to learn about. Thank you so much for taking time here, and good luck the rest of the way, Coach.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. You guys are the best. Love the show, man.
Hey, our show sucks. We wish we could be like your team. We do appreciate
More
that.
of this.
All right.
More of this. More of this. We need more of this.
You're the man. Ladies and gentlemen, national champion, head coach of the UConn Huskies, Dan Hurley. Thank you, buddy.